June 18th. What were the chances that you'd end up here with me today? Well, grab a coffee and let's get smarter together. I've mentioned a few times already that networks have greater abilities than their parts alone. But why? Let's start out with a single cell. In the moment, this cell gathers and processes data from inside its boundary and some from its immediate environment to generate its most current model of a physical universe. It's far from complete, this model, and far from true, but it's the best it can come up with within the limits of its processing powers. In addition to this cell can store some memories. What are memories in the quantum sense where time and thus the past does not exist? They are key points about the cell's previous models of a physical universe, the ones that have been replaced by the current partial model after more data has been processed. I'm guessing here, but it would make sense when these are things that have either notably remained unchanged during several versions of a model, or things that have drastically changed between one model and the next. Finally, a single cell has the ability to formulate some expectations about the future. Again, what are expectations in the quantum sense? They are best guesses about what might change and what might stay the same in the next model. It's to ease the data processing because changing data requires more scrutiny than data you expect to remain untouched. And one rule of the quantum universe is that you can either move or see where you are at. You can either process data or check your model, but neither do, both at the same time. So you can't change your focus of attention between models. You have to guess what is worth your attention in the next step before you switch. Once the cell now merges with another, its boundary expands. Its inside, where it collects and processes data from, is now defined as everything that has been inside itself and everything that has been inside the other cell. It also still collects and processes data from the outside that new boundary. The same goes for the cell our first cell merges with. But, and here comes the interesting part, the two cells never had the same perspective from which they observed the quantum universe. Their perspectives won't be immensely different, as both cells appear for us in roughly the same place and at the same time. Time and space are expressions of a difference of a perspective of different observers inside the physical universe. But the two cells' perspectives are different to a degree. And that's important because it's only through observation that the spectrum of possible ways in which an event can play out is shrunken to the one way it does play out for the observer. Even though both of our now merged cells observe the same events, different points of the event spectrums will stand out for them. The events will play out slightly different for each one of them, meaning the data they collect and process will be slightly different. Since they now pool their data, the joint model of the world will begin to locate and put the spectrums together. This new knowledge about the spectrums adds up to a more of intelligence, which a single cell alone could never achieve because a single cell as a single observer will never be able to observe 2 points of the same event spectrum, let alone the millions upon millions there might be. A single observer thus will never know what data belongs to a spectrum and how large the spectrum might be. A single human adult is made up of tens of trillion cells. Our model of a universe that we perceive consciously as reality is a highlight reel of the joint models of all these cells. And yet, the amount of data that makes up the quantum universe is so huge The event spectrum so expensive that even this amount of different perspectives doesn't even start to allow each one of us to generate anything that comes close to a complete and true model of a physical universe alone. We are simply not enough observers. But like single cells, we can increase our intelligence when cooperating, by sharing all of our collected information about the universe, by comparing it in conversations with the aim not to convince the other that we are right in our observation, but to generate joint models that begin to reflect location, size, and nature of event spectrums. Why? Problems are the result of the availability of too few data points of an event spectrum. Solutions are revealed by expanding the view of that spectrum. Once again, it can only happen by adding observers who share their observations, not by few observers trying to interpret what little data points we have in different ways. Exploration is a grassroots op. Explore, also known as think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into a grassroots activity again. Like, comment, share, and follow, lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. Once you do, we'll meet again at the coffee pot.